Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Like Butter, but we say butter. It's your girl Ashley, y'all, and you know I'm bringing y'all back with another pound cake recipe. But this time we getting ready for Easter, so it's Easter theme. Now, okay, we're gonna talk about when I was cutting this pound cake in a minute. So, I'd like to introduce y'all to my key lime mile high pound cake. I told y'all it was Easter theme. All right, so y'all see it with the green and the yellow. So you can use your own colors that you like to make it Easter theme. If you don't want to just make it like more key lime Easter theme, kind of like what I did, then you can use the pastel colors for Easter. The yellow, pink, orange, green, things like that. But baby, when I cut this cake, I was like Betty Wright. I'm nervous and I'm trembling because you shouldn't overmix a pound cake, but we added the food coloring and it requires quite a bit of mixing to get the food coloring in there. Now I did this for y'all because y'all know I'm really full with that food coloring, but it came out pretty. So cut it. Got a little gluten streak, but baby, like King George, we're gonna keep on rolling because the cake came out good. It's pretty. Truth be told, a little gluten streak tastes good. And I'm not rebaking this cake. This cake is just fine, all right? So let's go ahead and get into it. So I'll show you how to make this cake. Let's go. All right, we're getting ready to whip that butter up. But first, we got to add our cream cheese, all right? So I cut my cream cheese up a little bit to make it easier to add to my mixing bowl. And then I start the blending with that before adding any of the other ingredients. So this is 12 ounces of cream cheese. So it's a block plus a half a block, all right? So I got that all nice and blended. And so I'm adding my butter in here now. Okay, you get that all nice and mixed. And then of course we're going to slowly add in our sugar. Add that all nice and slow until you have it well incorporated. And then of course we want to mix everything until it's light and fluffy. So approximately 5 minutes, may take a little bit longer until it's nice, light and fluffy, no longer grainy. That's when we start adding our next ingredients into our bowl. So I have this about, people always ask me what I mix on. I mix at about a 1 no higher than a 2. And I use the paddle attachment as you can see here. All right, so we're scraping down the sides of our bowl. And then we're gonna add in our extract. So I added in 4 teaspoons. You can decide, like I said, if you want a little more, if you want a little more pungent flavor of the key lime, that was enough for me. We're using an emulsion. Emulsions really infuse your batter versus extracts really like flavor. Now, don't get me wrong, emulsions also flavor your batter, but it's like it just infuses the batter naturally with the flavor. You have to try to really understand what I'm saying. So we're adding our eggs in here one at a time, mixing well after each addition. So I don't mix my eggs this fast. This is just for the video. If you want to see my real-time video, go to my butter vanilla pound cake recipe or video. So I'm mixing this still at about a 1 or a 2, only until combined, until you start not seeing as much yellow streaks. Then you can go ahead and add your next egg. But still, like I said, you just want to take your time with this process. You don't want to have your mixer too high. I only turn my mixer up higher than a 2, like if I'm making an icing or a glaze or something like that. Or like when I, in the beginning where I whip my cream cheese up by itself, I might turn that up a little bit, but otherwise I just take my time. So we're scraping down the sides of our bowl again. And then we're going to add our flour to our bowl. And you can add it like in threes. You can add it in fours, a cup at a time. However, just make sure that you add it slowly until it's nice and combined into your batter. All right. And you see my mixer is pretty full. So I just kind of take my time when I initially started and mixing so the flour is not kicking around. However you want to do it, however you want to work it. And if you're using a hand mixer, of course you won't have that problem, right? All right, so this is the last of my flour. and then I mix to a certain point. And y'all know I always come in hand mix. So my oven is already preheated. My oven is preheated to 325 degrees. We bake our Mile High Pound cakes for about an hour and a half, but sometimes they take longer. Sometimes they take an hour and 45 minutes. Do the toothpick test. Make sure it's relatively clean before before you remove the cake from the oven. All right, so we added food coloring, right? So we're using 3 separate bowls, which my bowls were too small to mix, so I had to transfer to a bigger bowl. But this was still good as far as like trying to get my batter as even as possible. If you want to use a measurer, that's fine, like a scale, that's fine. But I didn't choose to use that. So the green food coloring I used was green, y'all, like green for real. But I was like, okay, so my batter is not clear, so to speak, right? It's white, a little off white. So I'm just going to use a little bit of food coloring, not go too heavy, and I think I'm going to be able to get the pastel look for my batter. And baby, it worked, okay? So add just a little bit at a time. Don't do too much. Try not to mix too much, but kind of really see how that flavors, the color is transforming your batter. I use maybe 3 drops, something around there. You know, all of that is really preferential as far as color. How, what color you want your batter. So we doing what? We spraying the hell out that pan. And then I came in with the pastry brush and got that all nice and even. Now, um, I went ahead and sprayed it because we're going to go ahead and lay our batter down in different sections. But you don't want to pre-prep your pan. You want to spray it right before you're adding your batter into your pan. Just so you make sure you don't have any of it settling. Okay, so we're adding our batter here. And if you want to add more colors, then of course you would do 4 bowls, right? And have different colors for each bowl. Or if you wanted to do 5, or if you wanted to do 2, you get the picture of what I'm talking about, okay? So we're going to smooth the top here. And then we're going to get ready to follow suit. But our second layer is going to be, of course, the yellow. So y'all, don't this look orange when it's coming out of the bottle? But look, it's yellow. It's yellow for real. I'm like, y'all be scaring me. Don't play with me. But like the bottle looks orange, but if you see at the top of it, it has a little yellow drop to show you the shade of yellow it will be. All right, so I wanted it not to be too faint of a yellow, so I went a little bit heavier with the yellow, and I love how it came out. Okay, y'all see it transforming. And I wanted a little bit more. It seemed like the yellow was not the yellow I wanted. It seemed like it wasn't just like popping, you know what I mean? It was like a little boring. I was like, let's add a little bit more yellow to this batter. And I love how that came out. So same thing. We're gonna grab our bundt pan. This is an 18-cup bundt pan, y'all. It is technically an angel food pan. A lot of people ask me about that. It is technically an angel food pan, but this is like one of the biggest in present day that we've seen that we can easily get that holds a Mile High Pound Cake, which is 18 cups. So if you're looking for a Mile High Pound Cake pan, go look in my store, my Amazon store, and get the Procast pan. You won't be disappointed. You can use other pans. They typically like 16 cups, and you're going to have leftover batter. So why? When you can put all that batter on one pan. Okay, so repeating the same thing with the last batter. All right. I cut this one a little short because y'all get the picture by now. But I really wanted to provide that example for someone who hasn't done a cake of this nature before. I did the same thing with my Black History Pound Cake. You can go see that too. All right, so we just lay in the batter in here, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to smooth the top. All right, with our spatula. We already have our oven preheated, ready to go. Start mine early so I don't forget, right? And so I'm going to put it back in this foil. We did that before. I'm putting it back in that foil. I like that. This pan is a little dark, so my cakes were coming out a little dark. Last time it didn't come out a little dark, so I was loving that. All right. So just be gentle with it when you putting the pan in there and we ain't taking it out. Okay. Put it in the oven. I already told you how long we're gonna bake it. You see, it came out a little Oscar green on top, but that's okay. So we're gonna flip that over. I let it cool for about 15-20 minutes. No more than 20 minutes. Y'all look. It came out interesting. But I like it. Like, it came out a little orange. I don't know. But I still like it because when I cut that thing, that's what's so important, okay? Because we dress this thing up with plenty of icing. So we're starting by fluffing our powdered sugar, all right? And then we're going to add a little salt to boost the flavor. We're going to add a little bit of the key lime extract or emulsion. You can add more if you like I said, so you can have more of that flavor. And then we're adding our heavy cream. You can also use milk. Okay, so if you want to just like the glaze to fall over the cake, I suggest milk. If you want it to sit up on the cake like I'm doing it, a little bit thicker type look, yeah, you want to do heavy cream. All right. And I'm going to try my heavy cream like sending it out at room temperature one day because I always take it straight out of the refrigerator. I don't know, I don't think about it beforehand or whatever, but I never think about it like with glazes or anything. But I just really want to see the difference. All right. So I use about 1.5 cups of the heavy cream. Use how much you think you will need. I always say if this is your first time, kind of follow the recipe. But baking is intuitive, right? So you want to look at that, look at your ingredients and see how they're coming together and see if it's the way that you want it or how you think you're going to want it, because everybody's kitchen's different. Every brand comes out different. It may not be a big difference, but there's always some type of difference between bakers, right? All right, and then I add the food coloring last once I have the color the way I wanted it. And I thought I was going in one direction and I decided to go in a different direction with my glaze, but I love how it came out. Oh, speaking back about the different bakers and stuff, it's just like, your mom may give you a recipe, your family member, and you cook that recipe the same way they said, and it just don't taste the same, it just don't look the same. Same thing with baking cakes, you can have a recipe all day, but you got to find your lane, you got to find your way, you got to find what works for you, and we all do things differently, and nothing is wrong with that. All right, so I'm in here with my offset spatula because I wanted to create those grooves that we got. So I ended up having to go along the side with my spatula, moving it all around until I got it. Had like a little naked look, is what they call it, when you can kind of peek it through and see the cake. And I love how it came out. Now it's going to be a soft set. It's not going to be a hard icing or anything like that. But y'all, look at her. Ooh, I'm thankful how it came out. Okay, let's get into the taste test. Let's do that. Y'all see that yellow popping though? Like, baby, it's so bright. And I'm really excited to taste this key lime flavor. I used key lime extract this time. Last time I used key lime juice. This time extract, so I'm excited for the change. I like that. Now, I'm gonna try not to get carried away because me and citrus don't get along. But it's not real strong with the key lime flavor. But I feel this like even like the lingering taste as it sits on my tongue. So if you are more of a citrus person, you may need more extract. Now that was just a cake, so we're gonna try the icing. Same thing. Hold on. Okay. So it's kind of subtle. It's not really strong. Works perfectly for me. For you, you may want a little bit more of that key lime flavor. But I really like the extract. I really like how it like sits on the palate. I like it with the cream cheese. Last time we used a sour cream lime mix. That was good too. Don't get me wrong. But I like the how the emulsion kind of like infuses the cake with the key lime flavor, instead of like the juice, it kind of like sits. Baby, you have to try it so you can get to know what I'm saying. But alright, so you know what I want y'all to do is always get in that description box or the first link in the comments and grab the recipe, like, share, subscribe. Don't be stingy, you know. Always make sure that you share and come back and join us for more over here with the light butter. But we say butter. Bye. Baby, that icing is everything. I just wanna, baby, take that off. I almost wish I had some extra. So I'm gonna sop that cake up.